Casting anyone other than Julia Roberts to star in Pretty Woman could have been a big mistake. Big. Huge. The actress snagged the role of down on her luck prostitute Vivian Ward, and then just 3 days later lost the job that would eventually earn her the title of America's Sweetheart. That's because the film, which was originally titled 3000, had cast Roberts as its leading lady, just days before its original production company, Vestron Pictures, went out of business. This small movie company folded over the weekend, and by Monday, I didn't have a job, Roberts recalled in a 2019 Variety conversation with Patricia Arquette, who'd also auditioned to play Vivian in what she described as a gritty art movie with a really heavy ending. Disney ultimately bought the film rights, with Gary Marshall stepping in to direct what became the 1990 romantic comedy Pretty Woman. Marshall agreed to meet with Roberts as a courtesy. Although Marshall might have had some other Hollywood A-listers in mind for the starring role, he met with Roberts as a courtesy anyway. Gary Marshall came on, and because he's a great human being, he felt it would only be fair to meet me, since I had this job for 3 days and lost it, Roberts explained. After she won him over, Pretty Woman was born from what had once been 3000, a reference to the amount of money wealthy businessman Edward Lewis, played by Richard Gere, paid Vivian to be his escort for the week. They changed the whole thing, she said. And it became more something that is in my wheelhouse. Indeed, 3000 wasn't quite the same modern-day Cinderella story that eventually hit theaters in March 1990. Before Marshall gave Pretty Woman the rom-com treatment, screenwriter J.F. Lawton had conceived the story in the late 1980s as a dark, gritty drama centering on the dangers facing Hollywood sex workers at the time. Had drawn inspiration from such films as 1973's The Last Detail and 1987's Wall Street, and There Was No Happily Ever After for Vivian and Edward. Instead of Gere's character's chivalrous climb from his limousine to rescue Vivian from her fire escape, as Roberts tells it, in 3000 Gere's character threw her out of the car, threw the money on top of her, as memory serves, and just drove away, leaving her in some dirty alley. The original ending had Vivian on a bus with best friend and fellow prostitute Kit DeLuca headed to Disneyland as she stares out emptily ahead. And, scene. The tone of the movie was changed to a fairy tale with a twist. Fresh off his success directing the 1988 musical drama Beaches, Marshall had been intrigued by Lawton's heavier script, which he saw as the story of a girl who wanted to change her life, and did, according to Vanity Fair. What Marshall had in mind, however, was more akin to a fairy tale with a twist. My vision was a combination of fairy tales. Julia was Rapunzel, Richard was Prince Charming, and Hector Elizondo was the fairy godmother, the late director said in 2015. It didn't seem like a vision everybody would have, but I did. Roberts was the one who convinced Gere to join the film. In fact, Roberts was responsible for ultimately convincing Gere to sign on to the film. The actor remembers Marshall bringing her to his New York City apartment and leaving them alone to chat. To be honest, I didn't know if I was doing this movie yet. She's across the desk. We're getting to know each other. We're flirty, nice, Gere explained during a 2015 cast reunion on The Today Show. Marshall echoed Lawton's sentiments to Vanity Fair. The chemistry between Roberts and Gere was perfect. The actors brought such a lovability and charm that I didn't think the audience would want a dark ending, and it didn't hurt that I am from the school of happy endings. The rest, of course, is pop culture history. In addition to receiving a 1991 Academy Awards Best Actress nomination for the role, Roberts also won